This video is brought to you by sex. Without it, This video is brought to you by sex. Without it, either of us... This video is brought to you by sex. Without it, either of... This video is brought to you by sex. Without it, neither of us would exist. So in this video, I want to talk to you about sex and sexual desire. And in fact, we're going to be talking about 3 ideas / strategies / just some things that really help when it comes to creating sexual desire, creating sexual tension, and increasing the passion in your relationship. Now, for those people watching this who think, I'm attractive enough. Well, that might be the case. But learning the art of the sexual desire, the sexual dance, things like that, is an incredibly powerful and an incredibly passionate and an incredibly useful skill. And I call it a skill just like anything in life is a skill set. For example, social skills. Most people think, but shouldn't that be natural? But you've been practicing it your entire life. You've been practicing it from when you were a child, watching your parents, when you watch television. Right now, this is a social thing. It might be a video, but it's still a social thing. So you're often practicing some form of social skills right now. So sexual desire is one of the biggest parts of a relationship. In fact, there are 2 twin forces of a relationship, and that is connection and chemistry, the double C's of a relationship. So when it comes to connection, that's your ability to connect with yourself and really feel the other person as well. But chemistry is often a flame, a spark, and things like that, that really, it's the thing that forces it out of the friendship zone and into something more. And it's one of those things that when you fan the flame of this, it can really intensify the connection that you have. And so I am sharing this with you with 2 little caveats. The first caveat is, without the pilot light of actual chemistry, you can't really force something. If you're not genuinely sexually interested in someone else and someone's not genuinely sexually interested in you, there is no manipulation, there is no force that you can actually do to create that. There has to be a pilot light. And so the pilot light we're going to be talking about in this video. But the other thing is, all superpowers should be used for good. So whether you use this video to enhance your, your current relationship right now, or if you use this video to, if you're single and ready to mingle and just want to meet a few more people or something like that, whatever it is, we always want to leave the other person that we meet better off than how we found them. And the same thing in your most intimate relationship. If you're currently seeing someone and it's very serious and it's the most amazing thing you've ever had, every day you always still want to leave that person better off than how you found them. It's a great foundation, it's a great mindset, and that's not even the mindset we're about to get into, but it's a great mindset to keep in mind for any interaction. Work, business, it's the same thing I have whenever I have a client or even a client or a call or something like that. When I'm working with people one-on-one, I want to leave them better off than how I found them. And it's really truly how the other person perceives their ideas of what being better off is. So it's about paying respect to the other person, about what their desires are. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the first mindset is... really getting in touch with what desire means to you. So getting in touch with your own ideas of what you truly want. And as always, the most important relationship you'll ever have is your relationship with yourself. And in day 1 in my 7-day self-love meditation course, which is only $7 by the way, in day 1 we talk about this. But for those people who haven't done that and those people are going, I'm too lazy to give it a go, I want you to understand this now, that getting in touch with your desires, what you want, your deepest fantasies, and allowing yourself to actually give yourself permission to appreciate those things, to know those things, to understand those desires, whether or not you, whatever you might perceive to be taboo, right? Now, sexual desires, remember this, doesn't necessarily mean sex. Sometimes sexual desires, or sometimes desires in general, this same things that we're applying here, right? We call it sexual tension, but you can call it emotional tension. It creates interest. It creates contrast. Look at the black and white of my outfit right now. It creates contrast. The mind loves contrast. The way our soul works, the way our fucking nervous system works, it loves contrast. That's how we tell the difference. So you have to recognize that, sure, we're talking about sexual desire here, but the same thing can be applied to emotional desire. And so it's the contrast that exists in our life that gives us these desires. So you might say you might have had a boring sexual experience only to know that you want something that's really, truly, that really gets your fires roaring. One thing I often share with people, often people talk to me and they say, I don't want to be too superficial, but I'd really like someone who's attractive. And I say, be superficial. Embrace the fact that you want someone that you're attracted to. It sounds silly, but it sounds so silly to say this, but a lot of people do say that. They say that to me. They say, I don't want to be so superficial. But it's those superficial things that if you don't embrace them, if you don't embrace your desires, what you want, things you want to try out, those kinds of ideas, if you don't embrace those things now, then later on, when they're more of a big deal, they're going to be more important and play more of a role. So for example, when it comes to finding your partner attractive on a physical level, on a surface level, skin level, what I find most people is that when they put that down, then they start to date someone or they get married to someone or whatever, they're with someone that they truly love on every level, but it's a fucking thorn in their side that they want to be attracted to that person. So we got to get in touch with our desires. All of them. Dare to fucking dream. If this is the only part of this video that you watch, the only fucking relationship that we have, then if I can give you this moment to dare to fucking dream, that alone is enough to put a rocket up your ass and send you in the direction that you want to go. Now, thing number 2. Now, mindset number 2 is getting comfortable with tension. Now, because, for example, when it comes to sexual tension or just tension in general, emotional tension, whatever, there tends to be a lot of push and pull. I like to look at tension like it's a bit of a rope. There's going to be a rope between you and that person. And so the tension in the rope, often feeling like you want to kiss that person, feeling like you want to do more with that person, and being comfortable in that tension, with that tension, is enough to enhance it, because it not only puts your consciousness on the fact that there is tension, but it puts your partner's consciousness on the fact that there is tension. Now, I did a video a very long time ago about how to have a crazy interaction in the bedroom. And that video was all about, setting it up, being like, I'm gonna do something great for you, and then nothing, and then surprising at the end. It's because that creates tension, that pulls the rope. And the more that the rope is pulled, the better the tension is, because the more consciousness is on it. This is why often bad things happening in a relationship aren't usually that bad, because it's consciousness translated awareness on what's happening in the relationship. Like a fight, for example. You spend more time thinking about trying to solve the fight, you invest more emotional energy in the fight, for example. It's not saying that that fights are good, but I'm not saying that they're bad, because when you invest that emotional energy in it, you're putting more consciousness on it. It becomes more important in you and your partner's mind. So another way of looking at it, for example, when I'm saying getting comfortable with sexual tension, get comfortable with not kissing a person, for example. Get comfortable with, not sleeping with someone. Get comfortable with being in someone's space or having someone in your space as a way or as a natural thing that enhances the tension, enhances the sexual tension, enhances the relationship, enhances both, because they're twin forces. Both those forces, connection and chemistry, are important in a relationship. So the enhanced tension enhances the sexual desire, which enhances the desire for someone and gives the relationship the energy it needs to couple, and gives the two people the energy they need to couple and link together in a new and unique way that is unique for you and your partner. Now, mindset number 3. Now, mindset number 3 is about allowing your partner to pull that rope forward. Now, you might get comfortable in sexual tension and you might be great in living in it, but the interesting thing here is allowing the other person to make the move can be one of the most powerful things you do to a relationship. And the amount of times, for example, when I'm working with people one-on-one and I get emails and messages and all this kind of stuff, I get people say, but my partner doesn't put any effort. Well, the partner doesn't know to put any effort because you're always pulling the rope. The rope might be tight, but you're pulling the rope to pull them towards you. There is a rope between you and a partner. That's what a connection is. It's like a fucking cosmic connection between you and your partner, and you can imagine it like this rope. So if you want to think about it, right, what you can do is hold the tension, even in a connection, right? Even if it's a date, hold the connection between you and your partner, allow that rope to be tight between you and them. And imagine if the rope is tight and you pull it, they're pulled towards you. But you don't want to be the person who's always pulling that rope, pulling them towards you. Wouldn't it be great if they pulled the rope too? So your ability to hold that tension, be comfortable in it, and decide, okay, this is something that they have to pull the rope with. This is something that they have to do. What you do then is you're communicating to them that they are the ones who have to do this. Might be, for example, you might be okay organizing dates, but it might be later on that you might say, I want you to pull the rope. And you can even say this to them. There is nothing wrong with being honest. In fact, that's the fucking name of the game. All of these things that I'm suggesting here, by the way, they come from an open heart and open honesty. You can say to your partner, look, I would like you to ask me out more. I would like you to organize more dates more. I would like you to kiss me first. Why am I always the one who has to instigate something? And when you do this, and you even let it known, right, do not pull the rope. In whatever motion that is, do not pull the rope. Let that person, your partner, the person that you're interested in, pull that rope no matter how long it takes. Now, you can obviously nudge them in the right direction. You can increase the tension. You can talk to them. You can let them know your desires. But let them pull the rope, because when they pull the rope one time, fucking pathways form, mind connections. It makes it easier to understand. They've learned a new skill. You've learned a new skill. We've all learned a new skill together, that when they pull the rope, it becomes easier for them to pull the rope again. Now, there is a thing called the law of diminishing returns. And there are many ways of interpreting it, but one of the ways I interpret it, the law of diminishing returns, is very simply about habits. Often the first time we do something it takes a lot of mental process. Now that means the second time we do it, it's easier because we've already formed some of the pathways. The third time is much easier. That's why, for example, whenever I want to start a new habit, I make sure that the first one is done right in the way that I would like until I want to break that habit in the future. So in the same thing here, you want to make sure that the first time you do something is done right and done correct, because that enforces the way your mind works as well, that creates pathways in your mind that are much easier to go down. So, for example, if the first date is terrible and you're feeling fucking rough or whatever, and it was just not really feeling good, often that's how the second and third dates go, and then it fucking explodes because that was the first date. It was a representation. It was those same pathways formed. And when we form those same pathways, that essentially is a relationship. It is a understanding internally that that person exists in the world in relationship, in coordination with us. This is why I've often, and if you watch me on Facebook, I do a lot of live videos as well. This is why I often talk about relationships and space and all this kind of stuff in the same way that we can talk about the stars and gravity and physics. It's because those laws are often the same. For example, when it comes to creating desire, you might say, but what about all of these problems? That's friction. Apply more force, and often, force being your desire, often the friction can be overcome. Or you can, everyone focuses on removing the friction, but you can easily just apply more force or lubricate it with more desires. So it's a lot different way of looking at it, and it's a much more profound way, and it's a much more easier way to get across. Now, if you've loved this video and you are ready to take the next step, please, what you can do is that you can apply for a free call. So go to www.loveonmyterms.com, and in that website, it's there. You can apply for a free call and you can learn more about my 6-week program. In my 6-week program, it's one of those things that everyone goes through it they have a different desire. You know, they have a desire. Someone wants the relationship. Someone wants the better connection. Someone wants more confidence. Someone wants social skills. Someone wants. And if you're in a position where you want something and you're really sick and tired of being where you are and you want to make a shift, that's the program for you. If you love just watching videos, then just keep watching videos. It's up to you. Really, it's water off my back because I get to really help and work with those people who want those things. Remember, we leave people better off than how we found them, and I want to work with people who want to move to a new level, a new system, a new mindset, a new goal, a new vibration, a new way of life. So if you love that, make sure to check that out, www.loveonmyterms. If you did like this video, make sure to leave a like, because if you did, then I like you. And make sure to subscribe, because if you don't, I am going to abolish sex. It's going to be gone. It's out of here. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Mwah. Bye-bye.